Make make sure everybody can hear me. What's up, everybody? This is I-44. Oh, care about you no matter what you call me. I still be here, making videos. This is the second part. The first one you can watch if you already watched it. Let me skip. Yada yada. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. Okay, let's get it all. Can I hear it? I don't know. I hope it's not loud.
Moonlight peered through my window as I jolted awake.
Okay.
My clamorous breaths disturbed the silence of my dark room. I had just come out of a frightful dream that had me thinking it was all too real. With sweat on my brow, I sat up and grabbed my water from the nightstand and took a sip from the now warmed glass. My hands shook as I recounted my nightmare of the horn-headed man.
It got dark.
In my dream, I was walking through my neighborhood, the street lights flickering as I made my way down the uninhabited sidewalk.
Man,
Nothing threatening, just a walk through the midnight hours.
believe it or not, that does that to me. It flickers. I'll be feeling like somebody's watching me. Especially at the four ways. It's like a squeak there, squeak there, squeak there, and a squeak there. And it's like that one light bulb. I hate that. Like, I'm into like scary things, but like, why? Anyways, just saying. Does that happen to y'all? Just asking. Comment down. That'd be funny.
A block down, I could see a figure in the distance, walking slowly towards me. His steps seemed mismatched and labored. He passed a few houses looking straight ahead, neither
you
looking
can
left
have
nor
that.
right. His head was fixed on the sidewalk in front of him. As I was getting closer to my home, I could see him slowly starting to embark on my territory. I quickly rushed to my front door and hurried inside. Through my window, I could see him walk past my property. I was thinking to myself, oh God, please have him keep going, please. He was just about to walk all the way past my front yard when he stopped. His body almost shifted abnormally as he turned to face my home. He just stood there, looking, not moving, just standing there.
That's the time I get the
The man
shotgun.
bore the horned head of a skeletal goat. His body was pale
I
and
don't do
fragile,
violence.
and his fingers
I'm
were
not a
thin and
violent
bony.
man.
I thought to myself,
Saying.
what does he want? Slowly, he started lifting a quivering arm and pointed right at me. I started to backpedal into the darkness of my house, when all of a sudden he let out an inhuman screech. That's when I woke up. Too frightened to go back to bed, I turned on the television and saw that the local news for early risers was on. My stomach dropped and my body suddenly turned cold as I listened to the current news report. The news anchor on the television said, "Breaking news. A woman who lived on Columbia Avenue has been murdered. Local officials say that they received an anonymous phone call from the victim's home. We arrived at the house at around 12:20, and we saw the victim inside and a card which rested next to her." The sheriff held up the card. On the back of it, I could see the image of the horn-headed man. The officer started to read. "One down. Slowly I go." He then lifted his head back up. His blood started trickling from his eyes and mouth. I sat there shaking, and I couldn't breathe. Columbia's just 3 blocks away from me. I jumped out of my bed and ran to my window. Something within me made me want to look outside. That's when I saw him. He just stood there, looking, not moving, just looking. The horn-headed man, his body pale and fragile, and his fingers thin and bony.
You can have that shotgun. That's pretty good. That's really, really good. It kind of gives me goosebumps. The woman. Alright, nah.
It was a late, moonless, snowy night. I heard the chilling cry of a bobcat as I arrived home from my parents' house, where we had just had Thanksgiving dinner in northern Michigan. Exhausted, I had finally made it to my bed when my pregnant girlfriend asked for nacho cheese munchies.
Oh,
Reluctantly,
good for
I
you.
laced up my boots and
Excuse
went
me.
to my car. Due to the cold, it took me a while to start the car, which only made me more irritated. But eventually I got it started, and I arrived at the convenience store to retrieve my girlfriend's mandated snacks. As I left the store, walking back towards my car, I saw a shadow of movement out of the corner of my eye. What looked like a person stood near the dumpster, just out of the light. I stepped towards the figure, and she looked at me with a giant, sinister smile. Her face was so weathered, it looked like she had cracks all over her face. She was crouched down and appeared to be chewing on something. I looked to see what she was chewing on. To my surprise, it was a severed arm. It looked old, as if it had been rotting for weeks. I saw her glance at something in her pocket. I could see the outline of what looked like a pocket knife. As soon as I looked back up, she quickly charged me. I pushed her away and then ran back to the convenience store. I burst through the door and frantically yelled towards the cashier to call the police as I turned to lock it. He asked me, "What's going on?" I scowled at him and said, "Please, just call the cops." I looked back outside and saw the woman had moved across the street and was still scrutinizing me as she maintained her malevolent grin. "Look, there's a girl out there who's trying to kill me." Looking over me, he replied, "I don't see anyone out there, sir." Those words shook me, even to this day. When the police reached the gas station, they began looking around for the woman while one of the officers asked me what had happened, and I told him the details of the encounter. One of the officers came back and said he couldn't find anything. I then took them back to where I first noticed her. We spent a few minutes intently searching, but there was no proof she was ever even there. The officer cocked his head and looked at me as if I was deranged and asked me in a judgmental tone, "Are you feeling okay?" I was about to defend myself, and then I started to think. I am tired, and I have had a couple of drinks, so I just told him, "Yes, sir. Sorry for bothering you. I hope you have a nice night." And then I drove home. I got home at around 4 o'clock in the morning. My girlfriend greeted me with an angered but concerning tone of voice. She asked me,
"Where were you? Are you okay?"
so I told her everything that happened. Of course, she didn't believe me. I couldn't get to sleep that night. I sat in my bed questioning my sanity, wondering if it was all even real. Am I crazy?
No, it's your wife.
Maybe I'm just tired. But no, that can't be it. I saw it. But if I saw it, why was there no proof? Where did the arm go? Where did she go? Before I knew it, it was 7 in the morning, and I had to go to work. I threw on my jacket as I was about to head to the construction site, and I put my hand in my pocket and noticed that there was a hole in it. It wasn't there the other day. I thought, what if she caught my jacket as I ran? Which further proves my suspicion that she was real. I couldn't believe it. My mind completely went wild until my girlfriend kissed me goodbye. I told my friends at work what had happened, and they didn't believe me either. They made jokes about it the entire day, but I had my bowling tournament that day, so that gave me something to look forward to. I got home and hung my vest and jacket up and rapidly put on my bowling shoes and got my bowling ball. My girlfriend looked at me with a pleasant smile and said,
When will you be back?
"Probably around 11.
Don't be long.
I won't, don't worry." At around 10:30,
Ooh, I like bowling.
the tournament had finally finished and we had won.
Am I good at
I
it?
was so thrilled I had forgotten about the woman. As we were leaving, I noticed something at the other end of the parking lot. It was that
Nice.
psychotic woman. We stared at each other for what felt like an eternity. She slowly started moving towards me while waving her knife in the air and making cuts. I quickly jumped into my car and turned it on. As I
1-0
looked
over.
up, I saw she was standing in front of me, staring at me. She slowly walked over to my window, and she said in a quiet, deep, and scratchy voice,
Little pig, let me in.
I was frozen in fear, but I snapped back to reality when she banged on the roof of my car, screaming. I quickly slammed my foot on the accelerator and didn't let off it until I couldn't see her anymore. When I arrived home, I told my girlfriend what had happened. Like last time, she didn't believe me. I really thought I was insane, but I tried to
GoPro.
forget about it and get some sleep.
Phone.
Later that night, I woke up and saw her in my room. All she said was, "Let me in," over and over as she got closer. She then started shouting,
Let me in, let me in, let me in. Let me in.
Come on, Paul. Stop being difficult.
Let me in.
I was wondering
I'll
how in the
walk
world my girlfriend hadn't heard this going on. The woman was right next to me and held up a knife to me. That's when I fainted. I woke startled in my room, dripping with sweat. Then I remembered I don't have a girlfriend, nor a house, or a family.
Come on, Paul. It's time for your morning meds. Let me in.
That one was pretty awesome. I like the ending. That, oh man, that could have been all too. Believe it or not, that could be all freaking too. And like, what if his mind didn't play tricks on him? What if that really happened? Like, just think about it. I don't know. That's a good what if. But it's up to you, you know what I mean? What if he killed his wife? What if he actually saw it? One more story? Yeah, I think one more story. I'm having fun. I hope y'all having fun. I hope I made y'all laugh.
I'm okay.
If you like, comment,
I'm okay.
subscribe for me. People ask me to do that.
Everything okay, man? Huh. Goddamn shoe.
Hey, don't cuss.
There's no people. It's a quiet neighborhood. Maybe I'm just exaggerating.
Wait, you might walk in a portal. Dude, I don't know what I would do.
Is there something I can help you with, sir? Come on, man. You're seriously freaking me out.
Are you talking to him? He's smiling. Now it's a freaking
Okay,
female.
alright, I get it. No one calls me on my birthday, so this is, I guess, what you decided to do instead? Listen, guys, I played enough Silent Hill, okay? This is nothing.
We're watching you.
What
That-
the hell?
It's
You
too
like to
different.
be seen.
Yep, yep. What you mean I like
There's
to
no
be
one
seen?
here. What?
You
What's
feel about
happening?
that, man? Oh.
You like to be seen. What the fuck are you people talking about?
Hey, look.
Please be a dream. Please, please be a dream. How the hell did I get here? Where are those
Man.
people?
You cuss too
What?
much.
Were those people? Hello? Is anyone here?
Why y'all do that? In every... If you woke up in a strange place that you know how you got there, and you telling me the first thing you do is hello, that's so freaking stupid. That's so stupid. Because now they know where you're at. Like, if I hear something, I stop, shut up, and listen. And if I see something coming after me, I run. I will pick up and I'll walk and throw it. But that's too many people. I may hit one, but you got more. Nah. Mm-mm. See?
Stop it!
How you get that gun? You shot yourself, dude?
I'm not making this video for attention, or sympathy, or anything. I just want anyone who can help me to do
Okay,
that. My name's Daniel, and this is a story I wish I didn't have to tell. I've been a night owl my entire life, As a teen, I used to stay up way past midnight every night, watching terrifying videos on YouTube. I know now they were nothing compared to
Of
the
course,
horrors
like
of the
me.
real world. Nothing
It's
compared to the
actually
tragedy my family and I
one
went through.
sunny
The story I'm
four.
going to tell to you now. My parents, being teachers, had always emphasized the importance of sleeping well to me and would definitely disapprove of my late night routine. So I knew that if they'd caught me up at that time, I'd be in big trouble. At first, this wasn't a problem, but after I told them about a child predator in our neighborhood that I'd seen in one of my videos, they seemed to grow more and more paranoid, which was obviously understandable. Every night, I'd hear one of them wandering into my room, checking on me, and every night, I'd immediately turn off my light and pretend to be asleep. I never knew for sure if it was my mom or dad coming in, since obviously if I opened my eyes to see, they'd know I was awake. Mostly, I presumed it was my dad, from the heavy-sounding footsteps, but either way, I found it pretty hypocritical for them to preach to me about being up late when they were awake themselves. Sometimes I wondered if they knew I wasn't sleeping, because often it was only after what seemed like hours before they'd finally leave and go to check on Alfie. That's my little brother, and Lucy, my little sister. I'd have asked them about it, but I thought it would have confirmed any suspicions which they seemed to already have about my staying awake deep into the mornings of the next day. Like I said, I guess they were just paranoid about the child predator. It was stupid for me to presume any of these things, and I'll never forgive myself for it, but I did it all the same. Anyway, one day, Lucy's school, where my parents both work, announced a school trip. It meant they'd be gone at some point next month from Saturday morning to Sunday morning, and it meant that I'd finally get to watch the horror movie my friend had lent me, that my parents had refused to let me watch. There was one downside, though. I'd be left to look after Alfie. He, being only 6 years old, my mom was reluctant to leave him in my care alone, but my dad defended me, reminding her that Alfie had been up most of the night after a nightmare, so he'd probably sleep most of the day anyway. Besides, he reassured.
Nah, that dude, the Alfie kid's probably seen this dude. Like, nah, no. There's no, like, some of it is nightmares, but the best way to know it's a nightmare or it's real is to put a camera. You know what I mean? Like, we got cameras everywhere. GoPros, regular cameras, phones. Technology is out there, so use it. And another thing is that we'll just stay with them. You know what I mean? Stay the whole night, watch them. If something goes quick in the night, you know. That's just me, you know what I mean? Then you got him thinking, oh, it's me or my wife, and it's not me all the time. I don't know, I would talk about it to find out, but, you know what I mean, if I get in trouble with, like, don't do that. If I didn't stay up, we never will catch this dude. As simple as that. Don't be afraid to ask.
Her. He's 17. He could be given a little responsibility. With a heavy heart, my mom agreed. I honestly wish she hadn't. Finally, the morning came for them to head off. It took longer than expected because my sister said
Dang.
some of her favorite toy dolls had been stolen. But eventually, my mom persuaded her
Oh,
that they
it's
were
a
probably just
theme.
lost and told me to look for them whilst they were gone. I begrudgingly agreed, and soon they were ready to go. As they were leaving, my mom gave me a stern word, reminding me to
even
lock the
worse.
doors, not go to bed too late, and take good care of Alfie. She told me she'd be watching through the security cameras to make sure I was looking after him properly. I told her she really didn't have to worry. Then we said our goodbyes, and they were off. Alfie and I spent most of the day playing outside, but came in after the frisbee landed near a strange man who Alfie said had been in his nightmare. I told him that was ridiculous, because even if he somehow was in his dream, he wouldn't be able to remember. Anyway, I went by myself to get it, and I have to admit that the man was fairly creepy. He had a huge grin, and his eyes, staring right at me, seemed to be permanently forced further open than they were designed to go. His clothes all seemed to have been made from someone 50 years younger, as they struggled to cling to his fully grown body. It was cold, but he was wearing a sun hat, a tiny one for children, which barely fit on his head. I recognized it, but didn't know how at the time. If I'd learned anything from the videos I spent my nights watching, I'd have abandoned the frisbee and left. But clearly I didn't, because not wanting to feel like a baby, I approached him. As I got closer to the man, his smile disappeared, and he removed the hat and held it behind his back. I began to see his features in greater detail. He looked tired. He was pale and his eyes were bloodshot and had huge gaping bags under them. In the entire time it took me to get to him, the man didn't move an inch, other than the odd blink. Not even his eyes shifted. At this stage, I was getting uneasy. I just wanted to get it and leave. "Hi, can I have my frisbee back, please?" "Thanks." The thought of that conversation, if you can even call it a conversation, still makes me shiver. I locked the front door as soon as we got home. We were both a bit shaken, and Alfie looked tired, so I gave him some more food and put him to bed. It took him about 2 hours to fall asleep. He kept complaining that he'd have another nightmare about that man. I told him he wouldn't, but he wasn't convinced.
And that
I see him every night.
to sleep when
He whispered
to sleep
to me,
next to the dude.
"Well, if you see him again, don't
Like-
worry. I'll be here to fight him off." This seemed to settle him down, and soon he was fast asleep.
See, I would just stay
At
with him.
about 11, it was time to put my film on. I couldn't have my mom knowing that I was watching it, so I did something naive and ignorant, and something I'll always regret. I turned off the security cameras. I watched it for 2 hours straight, my eyes never straying from the screen. Until I replayed the last few seconds of the film, but the sound didn't happen again. It was coming from inside my house. "Alfie?" He didn't reply, but I could see him under the covers, so I thought he was just asleep, and I didn't want to wake him up. I swear, if I thought anything worse had happened, I'd have checked. "You okay?" I thought maybe I was just worrying too much, hearing things. It was late, and the film had been scary. Maybe it was just all in my head. I knew from the sound of his voice it was him. "Alfie! Alfie?" Usually this much noise would have woken him up. "Alfie, what's going on?" I knew something was wrong. It was him. The doll. I couldn't believe it. It had to be some kind of sick prank. It had to be. But it wasn't.
Why you didn't stay with him?
It was the man I'd spoken to earlier. He'd taken my brother.
It was
Alfie!
a brother.
I would
look
certainly
like a
be gone
female.
before I could reach them. But he didn't set off straight away. He watched as I tried helplessly to do something. I screamed and I shouted and I banged on the windows and I tried to open the doors, but nothing worked. It was all in vain. There was nothing I could do for my brother, my best friend, as he was stolen away from me. It was too late for the police to do anything. It was too late for anybody to do anything. He was gone, and in time, I'd have to come to accept that.
You have 9 new messages. First message.
Hello? If you're out with Alfie, call me back when you get back in, please. Love you guys. Bye.
End of message. Second message.
Daniel, we've been trying to get a hold of you for hours. Is everything alright? Did you turn the security cameras off?
They'll be fine. The security system probably just glitched out. Hey, Alfie, just call us as soon as you can, okay? You know how Mom worries.
End of message. Third message.
Listen, Daniel, we're starting to get really worried now. If you don't pick up, one of us is gonna have to come home to check if everything's okay. Please pick up.
End of message. Fourth
Daniel, are you okay? Daniel! What's happened? Please answer! I couldn't bear to tell them anything. That was 7 years ago. We never found him. When I asked my parents if they'd seen anything at all of this man whilst they checked on us during the night, they only looked at me, concerned and confused. What do you mean? They asked. I could only stare at them in horror. Every night, around 2, you'd come and check on Alfie, Lucy, and me to see if we were sleeping.
Daniel?
They told me.
No,
we
he
didn't.
didn't.
The police wanted security camera footage of the man, but of course, there wasn't any. It automatically deletes any footage older than 24 hours, which meant I'd been mindless enough to stop it recording on the only night we could have seen him. You know, the strange thing is, I don't even know if I want Alfie to be alive. Because if he is, God knows what that monster has done to him. Sorry if I've gone on too long, but the guilt's been killing me. I had to get it out somehow. I only tell it as a story because, well, people like stories, and I want as many people to hear this as possible. Alfie, if somehow you're watching, I love you, and I'm so sorry. Please, don't lose hope. And to the man who took you, it's not too late. If you have any heart at all, and even if you don't, please let my little brother come home. To everybody
Oh,
else, if someone comes into your bedroom at night, open your eyes. You never know who it might be. I still stay up late at night. But it's not because I don't want to sleep. It's because I can't. In case anyone sees Alfie, this is the last good photo we took of him. That's it. Stay safe. Thank you.
Anyways, what did you think about that story? Comment down below. What would you be doing? Or what would you do? I want to know. I want to read. I would. Who I am, I'll probably stay. No matter if it's a nightmare or not. I don't know. It's just me. I'm curious type of person. I mean, I ask a lot of questions too. But, you know what I mean? He could have killed me and kidnapped him. Or kidnapped both of us. I don't know, but that's not me. I can't do that. Nah. Anyways, please like, comment down below, and turn on those notifications. And I forgot, I'm sorry. And subscribe. I forgot about that. I should start doing that. Anyways.